Greetings, guys. It is a couple days post Black Canyon 100K. Finally getting around to film another video for you. I actually took a day off on Sunday. I had been going really strong with my training about 3 weeks straight, I think without maybe a day off, maybe only 1 or 2 days off. And I was just feeling worn out. I got almost no sleep the night before the race, went through all of that and decided that it would probably be best to just take a little day off instead of trying to grind out another 7,000 feet. So I think it was a smart idea. First off, my name is Jamil Coury. Also, people call me Jam Jam. Thanks for tuning in to the Run Steep TV channel. Right now I'm training, in the midst of training for the 2018 Barkley Marathons. And that is a lot of what this video series is all about, as well as a day in the life of what it takes to be a race director with organizing a bunch of running events. So yeah, taking a day off, I think it was a smart move. After hitting it pretty hard, I had about a 93-mile week, just polished off a 73-mile week. That was with the day off. Even though I didn't get as much climbing as I would have liked this last week, I think it was a smart move. And rolling into this week, I've got my big training run coming up on Friday, Saturday, 24-hour run that is just around the corner. So today's Tuesday. I'm going to be going on a quick run here before it gets dark and fill you guys in on a couple more things. Currently, today I've been downloading a bunch of footage that I shot at the Black Canyon 100K. That film will go on this YouTube channel, hopefully sooner than later. I was out there flying my drone around. I was out there filming with my stabilized rig. This is kind of a new setup I had. This is my DJI Osmo. It's a stabilized gimbal cam. But anyways, I hooked it up to this Phantom drone battery. And this thing was so cool because I had unlimited power all day. I went off one battery and it still has this much charge for all of the filming that I did the entire race. So right now I'm currently transferring all those files onto my hard drive, and then I'm going to be organizing the footage and then putting something together. For those of you guys that have been around this channel for a while, this film is most likely going to be similar to Miller versus Hawks, and also similar to our Lake Sonoma video and the upcoming Ice Fire Grit. It's got a lot of action follow shots behind the runners. We're all over the course getting really sweet, amazing shots. We've got some aid station. We had 3 people shooting video total, myself, Michael Carson from Carson Videography, and also Enzo, who works for me and edits all these Steep Life videos. So really excited to share that with you guys. I think we got some really amazing stuff. It was really almost a flawlessly organized event, I would have to say. We have used all of our experience over the past decade and all of our staff and team. It was really a pretty amazing orchestration of lots of moving parts. We had close to 600, I think that's right. Yeah, close to 600 runners in total between the 2 races. We had 352 finishers in the 100K, which I think was somewhere around an 80% finish rate, and another 130 or so finished the 60K. So really a big event. I think the biggest 100K in 2017 was Miwok with about 285, 87 finishers. So really cool to see. We've got a lot of people that qualified for the Western States 100 lottery. And of course, we gave out those golden tickets. We've got the golden tickets. One for you and one for you. Entry into the 2018 Western States 100. Congratulations again to Tim Frericks, Juan. I'm always going to forget his name. Juan Moran, I believe. He got the second ticket. For the women, it was Elsa McDonald and Paige Patillo. Courtney DeWalter did end up in second place, but she's already got her golden ticket, so it did roll down in spots. We had great weather on race day, which was really exciting, and right now our team is still out there kind of cleaning everything up, but overall a successful event. And now I'm kind of shifting gears in between now and Barkley, which is just a few short weeks away for me personally. we just have 2 events. Actually, I think one is the same day as Barkley. So my workload for Aravaipa is going down a little bit, and that's good timing because over the next 3 to 4 weeks, I really need to focus number 1 on training, number 2 on sleep. Those are going to be the most important things for me this year. So without boring you guys too much more on all of the updates, I'm going to get out there and get a training run in today. I think if I leave now, I can try and get 2,000 or 3,000 feet of vertical in tonight. I'm just going to go to the mountain closest to the office here and then come back here and keep working. So join me. All right, heading up on loop 2. Done 1,000 feet of climb so far. Just trying to ease back into the week. I only did 1,000 feet of climb yesterday. Gonna just do 2,000 today. Starting to feel a little bit better. Yesterday was a bit rough, not gonna lie. Okay, coming up on my second summit of the night. 2,000 feet of climb in the bank. Really glad I got out tonight. Starting to feel it coming back together a little bit. All right, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about my Barkley training. First off, a history of my previous attempts at Barkley, maybe how my training was going up until this point, and what is my training plan right now. Now, I'm not using a coach this year. Previous years I was, but I wasn't exactly doing everything that they prescribed. I had some setbacks along the way. I mean, we typically always do. Even this year, I've already gotten sick once this year. That knocked me out for a couple weeks. And plus, this last week, I was a little bit busy with the race going on, so lost a little bit there as well. So let's dive in. I want to bring you guys into my Strava history and kind of explain and go through a little bit of what I'm thinking and feeling right now as I head into my final big push, the final 3 to 4 weeks of my training buildup for this block. Let's go take a look. Okay, guys, a little bit of history on my Barkley runs, I guess. This will be my 4th attempt at the Barkley Marathons this year in 2018. First time I went out there was 2014. I had no clue what I was doing other than I was going to give it my best shot. I don't even have records of my training on Strava. Maybe it's back in the days of Daily Mile, if any of you guys remember that. So I don't currently have that data pulled up. I just have what's on my Strava. I was looking and there wasn't anything there from 2014. So I'm going to go jump ahead to 2015. Now, 2014, my result was a fun run finish in 39:55. That's 39 hours, 55 minutes. In 2014, I trained a little bit more specifically, and I was able to come away with finishing a fun run in about 32, 33 hours going on, but then taking way too long to finish loop 4.
We know he's in the second half. They're going to look halfway through the second half to see if he's in the last quarter or the first quarter. And he's really just on the far end of the time I would have expected him if he was taking his time but finishing the lap. But they want to go check these things before it gets dark.
All I did was for you to come back.
Awesome! You got all the pages?
Yeah.
Damn, I must have missed
You must have just missed him.
Big nap?
Yeah.
Big nap. I got really confused going up zipline.
I was 8 hours over cutoff, so I was not an official finisher of 4 loops, and that's all I have to show is a 3-loop fun run. So he didn't even count my pages, even though I had them all. But that's besides the point. So what I'm going to show you here is a little bit of my training leading up to the 2015 Barkley. Let's just go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to start from, we can see there was kind of in December, just a hodgepodge of runs, not really a lot going on. I had one solid week where I got like a Black Canyon training run in. Moving on to January, it looks like this was the year that I ran the Hurt 100. So I did a couple runs in January leading up to right there on January 17th. I only have 65 miles recorded. My GPS died, but I did run 100 miles and took the next week to recover. I put in right around the beginning of February 2 solid weeks of training where I ran every day. It looks like I got maybe a Black Canyon training run in, and it was pretty sparse moving into the end of February. I did get 2 solid weeks of training in early March where I hit 24,000 feet of climb. I hit 1 week of 19,000 feet of climb, and it looks like maybe my big run was on my biggest run might have been on March 6th, 17 miles with 9,700 feet of climb. I might have tried to get 10,000 and just came up a tiny bit short. It seems like I then tapered off with about a 13,000 foot week. The week before the race, I got almost no running in. The week of the race, just one run. I think the run itself was right around the end of March there. So 2015, my big week was 24,000 feet of climb. My big run was 9,700 feet of climb. Not a whole lot to work with there. Now moving ahead beyond that, let's go to 2016. So I was pumped up and ready to get after it. So my December was pretty light, as it usually is with everything I got going on. But then I hit things hard. So let's go into January. So I was working with Jason Coop at the time. He was having me do a lot of speed work in build-up for this. So I was hitting things pretty hard at the beginning of January. As you can see, I had a 108-mile week going into a 109-mile week. And I was doing some really quality stuff here. I did a steady state run, followed up by another steady state run literally the next day. Then did another steady state run that Friday and another steady state. Holy crap. I literally did 4 steady state runs in 1 week plus a 25-mile long run. That, folks, I'm sorry, is just... it's just too much work, like in 1 week. So it's no wonder that I ended up getting injured the next week. So if I look at some of my training here, it looks like did some course marking. I did another steady state run that next Friday, and ran the Coldwater Rumble 52K. And after that run, I had this soreness in my calf, and came away from those 2 big runs where I did close to 50 miles in less than 24 hours, and that was just the end of it. I kind of limped through the next week, basically shut things down, and the next month, 5 weeks, I ran about 2 to 3 days a week, and eventually withdrew from Barkley because I was just injured. So that was the end of the 2016 pursuit. Moving forward in my training, if you guys tuned into the start of this Steep Life video series, it was that May that I kicked things off for training for the Ronda del Sim. So I ran, man, it looks like I ran every single day for about 8 weeks in a row, which is pretty awesome for building consistency. But this was the first time in my life that I really hit consistent vertical and big numbers in vertical. So I ramped up 14,000 feet, 13,000 feet of climb, 21, 25, 30, 35, and then back down to 28 right before my race. Had a couple weeks of taper. I would say this changed my perspective on what high mileage is and what vertical is and what a lot of vert is. Before I did this, my 2 times previously at Barkley, I thought Barkley was insane and impossible, and the climbs were like nothing that I could ever train for, and that it was just basically impossible. After doing this chunk of training and then heading back to Barkley again this last year, all of a sudden the climbs seemed not so bad, which was really interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but we'll get more into that in a minute. So the only thing I will say about this training block, and if you guys have watched some of the videos, you know I was tired as hell. I was busted and broken by the end of that 28-day training block where I did close to 130,000 feet of climb.
It's 11:24 p.m. Day 28. I'm done. Finished the Flagstaff Fearsome 4 and capped off probably the toughest training block I've ever had. I'm just freaking toast. I'm so done right now. I'm just,
I think I did actually 120. I was not in a really healthy spot and wasn't listening to my body. I was just trying to hit the numbers no matter what, day after day after day. And I ended up with extremely sore knees that stayed with me through the race. So I ended up finishing the race I was going for, but I couldn't run any of the downhills in the middle of the event. And I was extremely tired, and it didn't work out too well. So let's move ahead towards the end of that year and moving on into my 2017 buildup. So I got back into Barkley last year, and looks like I had a pretty solid December last year. Seems like I was getting some good runs in, long runs on the Black Canyon Trail. Actually, it looks like I was working with Ian Torrance. It seems like he had me doing some stuff. So starting out in January, I was hitting maybe 4 runs a week on average. Then it kind of tapered off. So towards the end of January, I was only doing 4,000 to 5,000 feet a week. I hit 1 week of 12,000. Again, 4, 2, 2, 2. All of February, I did a total 20,000 feet of climb in the whole month. So that did not set me up very well for success. Once I did finally try and kick things into gear, I had actually just gotten kind of a crazy rash that some of you guys remember from last year's videos. So it turns out that little rash that I had on my legs from bushwhacking in Superior is some sort of like poison oak, poison ivy, poison sumac, and it's getting really, really bad. If you don't want to see something nasty, you might want to just skip ahead or just end this video. But I've got some really, really nasty stuff on my my legs, and it's like blistering. Yeah, that ain't cool, man. One big run. So I got a 20-mile run with 10,000 feet of climb. And that was right after I got that rash on my leg. So I was starting to ramp up a little bit. So I hit 1 week of 20,000 feet of climb. I think I kind of last minute was kicking myself into gear, and then it just all kind of fell apart on me. Once I got the rash, as you can see here, the next 4 weeks after that, actually, wow, we're already past the race. So basically the 2.5 to 3 weeks leading up to the race, I was already behind the 8 ball. I lost the last couple weeks of training, and went into the race with basically almost no fitness. Was able to complete almost 3 loops last year. It's really sad looking back on this training. I didn't realize how bad it really was. So let's just flash forward to this year. Now, I took basically the last quarter of last year, October, November, December, mostly off. I ended up pretty good after my summer of training. So I had a great hard rock, pretty good TDS. I was hitting it hard right after that. Right after the TDS race that I did, it looks like I hit weeks of 25,000 feet of climb, 21,000 feet of climb, 26,000 feet of climb, 17,000 feet of climb, 19,000 feet of climb. And then we hit October. This was a big month for us. We had 3 events going on with Aravaipa, and I just felt like I needed not only a break from the videos, but a break from Aravaipa, from my running, and just to focus on Aravaipa. So as you can see here, basically 1 to 2 runs a week on average, running anywhere from 8 to 20 miles a week, not any significant amount of climb, and that persisted all the way up until the first of the year. So since then, I have rebooted my entire fitness program. As you can see, these are the first 6 weeks of the year, and it's been a little bit of a story of up and down, but overall, I would say I'm trending in a good direction. So I've been consistent for the most part. There is a couple weeks there where I got sick with the flu, so they're going to be down weeks. But I ran 4 ultras so far this year, so I've got some long runs under my belt. I've had some solid amount of climbing, so 10,000, 10,000, 17,000 feet per week for the first 3 weeks. Then dropped things down because of getting sick. So I basically had to write off an entire week where I only got 5,000 feet of climb. That persisted a little bit into the next week, but I did finish Elephant Mountain 50K, and that's where I started to feel my fitness coming back a little bit. That led into so far my first really peak week, what I would consider, where I hit 93 miles and almost 33,000 feet of climb, and that was not this past week, but the week before. So I'm already kind of took a little bit of a rest week this last week with Black Canyon, everything we got going on. I mentioned that. And didn't do as much climbing because I had so much course marking to do. Now, I was going to do a big day Sunday, but I had to help do some cleanup and decided that getting some rest and catching up on sleep would be better spent. So that brings us to this week. And this is going to be a huge week, guys. This is going to likely be a 40,000 foot week, which is maybe the most I've ever done in a week, and includes a long run of 80 miles with 32,000 feet of climb. That'll be happening Friday night, all day Saturday, and I'm going to sprinkle in just some little runs here and there. And so yeah, looking back on the previous training, I didn't get any runs in. When I did 4 loops at Barkley, I had done 1 week of 20,000 feet of climb and 1 run of 9,700 feet. So I know this isn't quite my Andorra training, but that might be a good thing because I was hurt after that and I was tired. So I've so far hit 1 week in excess of that. This next week will be double my biggest week. And I would imagine that the 2 weeks following this other one will be for sure over 20,000 feet. One of them might be 30,000 feet. We'll just have to see how I feel after that long run. So I would say that as of right now, I have a chance to show up in the best shape I ever had for the Barkley. which is definitely a confidence booster. And it's a little tough not to look at what others are doing. I know, Gary Robbins is training hard right now. I know that Guillaume Calmedes is training hard right now for Barkley, and these guys are putting up some big numbers. But really, I just, I got to live with what I got here, and feeling pretty good about where I am. I want to do another check-in maybe in a couple weeks and see how this is all playing out. It's kind of fun to see what the numbers show on Strava and kind of see how it all stacks up. So I guess from here on out, my goals are to get healthily through my long run this weekend. That's going to be a big piece of my training. And then I just want to be consistent and focus on the climbing and focus on the rest for the last 2 to 3 weeks of my training after that. So this has been a bit of a long-winded video, guys. I apologize for that, but I wanted to just give you a little insight into where I'm at, where my progression is at. I'm hoping that with multiple big runs, I had an 18,000 foot run the other day with a 32,000 foot run. I'm probably going to do a slew of other 5 to 8, maybe even another 10,000 plus foot day. That I think all of those together, as long as I'm feeling good and getting the rest, I think it's going to be good times out at Berkeley, I guess. Hopefully I'm showing up in the best shape that I can and give myself the best shot I can for getting out on loop 5 and seeing what I can do on that final one. So that's it. Jam signing off for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button below and stay tuned for all the updates leading up to the 2018 Barkley Marathons. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll see you in the next training video, which is coming up very, very soon.